When using Visual Studio Code with ObjectScript extensions, your workspace configuration impacts where your files are stored and how they can be accessed. Before choosing a configuration, you should get to know the basic functionalities of VS Code and where the ObjectScript extension pack fits in. VS Code opens as a window or instance, which performs functions like opening a file or terminal. When a folder is open in VS Code, subdirectories and files are displayed in the VS Code Explorer. This is considered a single folder workspace. Alternatively, VS Code can open multiple folders at once through the use of a multi-root workspace. You can customize VS Code instances at 3 different levels: the user level, workspace level, and folder level. The more specific settings override broader ones. InterSystems ObjectScript extension pack provides additional customizable settings. For example, the InterSystems Server Manager extension creates InterSystems server definitions at the user level, and the InterSystems ObjectScript extension establishes connections at the folder level. As an ObjectScript developer, you will usually work in more than one namespace on your InterSystems Iris server, and sometimes on more than one server. Both multi-root and single-folder configurations can handle multiple connections, but they have different benefits. You may want to view, edit, and compile code on a live server if you use server-side source control. This can be done in the virtual file systems of a multi-root workspace. You may want to import and export code from your machine to a server for client-side source control. Single-folder workspaces are most appropriate for this. If you work with multi-language projects, or your front-end app code resides somewhere other than your InterSystems server, multi-root workspaces support separation of code. Now let's look in detail at the steps to connect VS Code to multiple InterSystems servers or namespaces simultaneously. These configurations are not the only options, but they should give you some starting points. Let's begin with multi-root workspaces. Folders in a multi-root workspace are defined in the Workspace settings .code workspace. The InterSystems ObjectScript extension uses the URI scheme ISFS or ISFS read-only to designate folders as InterSystems server file systems. With an ISFS folder, you can remotely view and edit InterSystems server source code as if it were a local file system. Each ISFS folder can only connect to one namespace, but multiple folders can be displayed in a multi-root workspace for near simultaneous editing. To configure a multi-root workspace, first create a definition for each of your servers using the Server Manager extension. To create the workspace in VS Code, click File, New Window. When a new window has opened, click File, Save Workspace As, and choose a name for your workspace, for example, iris.code workspace. Open your .code workspace file with the command Open Workspace Settings JSON in the command prompt. Verify the file is empty. It should be, since your workspace is empty. Next, add one virtual folder to your multi-root workspace for every namespace you need to connect to. Add these folders by opening the VS Code Explorer and clicking Choose Server and Namespace. Fill out the prompts, and then you should see a new entry in your folders. Add the remaining folders via the command Add Server Namespace to Workspace, or manually if you prefer. Once connections are established, you can view the source code. If your code is protected by server-side source control, you may need to take the additional step of checking out a file before you can edit it. Next, let's look at single-folder workspaces. Among other scenarios, they are useful when you need to import and export code from multiple namespaces to your local machine for client-side development. In a single-folder workspace, the ObjectScript extension uses folder-level settings to establish an active connection. Once the active connection is established, the ObjectScript Explorer shows the source code. A single folder workspace can establish only one active connection at a time, but it is possible to have multiple instances of VS Code open to view source code from multiple servers simultaneously. To configure a single folder workspace, first create a definition for each of your servers using the Server Manager extension. Then, create empty project folders, one per namespace, with unique names. Open one folder at a time using VS Code. In each single folder workspace, create an active connection. Go to the Explorer and click Choose Server and Namespace. Then enter the requested information to add a .vscode/settings.json file to your workspace. Open the ObjectScript Explorer to view and export server code. Note that after filling out prompts for Choose Server and Namespace, the connection information will go in the settings file if you are in a single folder workspace, or to the .code workspace file if you are in a multi-root workspace. Now that you have learned about the benefits of multi-root workspaces and single folder workspaces, and seen how to set them up, choose a configuration based on your needs.